Hi, welcome to the coaching game. I'm Laurie Lawson, and tonight I am so excited to have Jennifer Lim all the way from Singapore on the show. Jennifer, welcome. So thrilled to see you.
Hello, everybody. Oh my God, thanks to
I
technology.
know
I am from Singapore, yeah.
we were waiting for Jennifer to come to New York City, and then of course pandemic struck, and we're all stuck. And finally, it was like, well, why not? Why can't we do Zoom now? So it's like, what are we waiting for? Let's go. So I'm thrilled. Let me tell you a little what I know about Jennifer. She is so busy that I can never keep up with her, and you know that's true. But I met Jennifer when we were both doing Points of View, and I believe, are you not now the country leader for Singapore?
No, I'm no longer the country leader for
You
Singapore,
were.
but I used to be.
Yeah, yeah. And then, so she's still doing her thing with Points of View, and she's still doing her coaching thing. And she never brings her book, but I always have her book close by. Right?
You
Oh,
know
you
what I
did it.
did?
Okay. So, all right, we both have her book, and you can see mine has a bookmark, and if just in case you think I'm lying, there's all kinds of writing in here. I love this book.
Wow.
So
Nice.
yes, and it's called Know Thyself, Thy Dreams Matter. Go for it. So Jennifer, tell me, what transitions have you been going through on a personal level as well as on pandemic? How is your country doing with all this craziness going on here?
Okay. For countrywide, Singapore has been, the number has not really sort of increased based on the last news I watched. I don't watch news, but yeah, so even if there was in case, it was mostly on the migrant workers, where we do tests on them in the community centers and the homes and stuff like that. In terms of what's the word that I cannot recall right now. But mainly right now we are in the it's interestingly wearing masks now. It's like a fashion statement. So
Right.
we yeah, we need to wear masks when we get out of
I
the
have so
house.
many colors.
And
I match my outfits now. It's like, okay, make it a fashion
yeah.
statement. Yeah.
Yeah. So this season it's been interesting season. Transitions wise, I just got married in March.
I know. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a big
Yeah,
transition.
so when
Yeah.
I when I met you in New York, I was in a different zone in my life. I was I I mean, come to think about it, I think it was a I mean, I personally think that it's a huge transition
Mhm.
from if you have watched the first video of my interview with Laurie, my book cover was not like this at all.
No, it wasn't. It was
The,
very pretty,
it
but
was it was a totally different book cover. It was a totally different. I mean, the only content that was same was only one part of it, and then the book has evolved. I mean, my life experience has evolved, and there was many that was going on. Yeah. Um. So yeah, I mean, now you ask me, I am also in a transition right now, as in because of this huge pandemic, and things is not the same anymore. You don't do the same old like you probably go into the office, or when even when you meet people in Singapore, we're not allowed to meet more than 5 people in a group. Like in a table, you can only allowed to have 5 maximum. Yeah, so it's like big gatherings has stopped, and training has
are
sort
there
of
things open in your country? Because my country is just kind of starting to open. Some places not. Are things open, or like restaurants and movies and
yes,
shopping centers?
yes,
That's all
yes,
open?
yes.
Oh,
It's open. It's open. It's open. It's just that there's much more. Like you have to scan in. We have this system to scan in about like we track together kind of thing.
okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of like at 1 meter apart. That we need to the training is also sort of affected. So a lot of guidance, a lot of regulations that we need to follow by the ministry. So yeah.
What is this?
So that's what is happening for
Yes,
Singapore.
and they say same thing here, except ours we don't seem to be quite in control of yet, but we're working on it. That's what they tell us anyway. What has that done to your coaching business? It's have you, because I've had to adjust mine for sure. So how have you adjusted that? And are you still doing points of view? And if so, how do you do that without getting together?
So in terms of coaching business, I think interestingly when we first interviewed together, I remember you asked me the questions about how is coaching like in Singapore, and I was saying that coaching in Singapore was still very young, but now it's very different. Like I don't know whether it's because of the environment or the community that I'm in. Like everywhere I talk to, or most of my friends are coaches and trainers, and we have for me, I have evolved to become a mentor coach. I'm not so sure. I think when I was interviewing with you, I was still ACC, which is the Associate Certified Coach of the ICF, right. The International Coaching Federation, in case nobody, your audience not sure. So I'm now holding a PCC credential, which is the same.
Again, congratulations!
Yeah,
wow.
Okay. Yay! Thank you. Yeah. PCC stands for Professional Certified Coach, which we have clocked like more than 500 hours right now. So I'm doing some mentor coaching for coaches that wants to become ICF accredited. So in terms of transitions, this is also a new transition for me from where I started as a very, very young coach. And this year actually was I'm celebrating like 10 years knowing coaching. Like I started my coaching school when I was 24. Oops, I just revealed my age. But yeah, so I mean, so it has been a very significant years in a sense as well as I reflect on my journey, and also because I don't think I shared this story with you before, or even with the audience. And how do I know about points of view and the whole coaching thing? I was actually from a mentor, a very dear mentor to me, that and he passed on last year on our Singapore birthday, on National Day. Yeah, and it was pretty hard to swallow. Even this year when National Day just passed on August 9th, and it was heavy. It was a day where I really like pause for the day, where I just like reflect, on his anniversary, or like think about how has my life been. Because I mean I love my country, and National Day has always been a day. In fact, when I started being a country leader for points of view, like being the distributor for Singapore, I actually launched it on National Day as well.
You did what? You launched what?
I launched it on National Day as well, like Singapore birthday, perfect. August the 9th. Yeah. So it has So then it's like it has been interesting. So I was just reminded of in terms of my coaching journey, right? Like where do I want to go next, right? My plan or my idea in the next few years is to move towards the Master Certified Coach level, which needs to clock about 2,500 hours on the way. Yeah, so that is one thing that I'm looking forward to in terms of my coaching journey, in terms of where I am now in terms of the coaching professions. I think it's not just more for me to practice as a being in mastery as in like relearning the art of coaching. I think it's not like like I mentioned, I went to a coaching school 10 years ago, right? It's not, coaching is not like you go to a school 10 years ago and then now you don't continue practicing, or you don't grow yourself, or you don't go learn some more. So it was just, in fact, I just finished one coaching school training recently as well.
That's what I was going to ask you, because I notice, and I follow you on Facebook, you always are doing something. So I introduced what I know about you, but I know you have some certifications and some other really cool things. Tell us what you've been doing in that, because I know you've enhanced your coaching skills a lot just by, taking some more courses and getting some more certificates. So what else do you have going on out there?
Certificates. Okay. Singapore has been because we are a very small country, and is the only resource that we have is people, right? And actually, we talk a lot about education, and for me, in terms of diploma, does the States have diploma like this word?
Yeah, diploma.
Like it's diploma. So it's like I have 4.
Exactly. I knew you were busy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I started off my first diploma as an early childhood educator. So I can teach preschoolers. So that was how I started. And then I went on to took very extreme, really extreme diploma, which is a specialized diploma in wedding planning. Yeah. So, and then my coaching, and then my last that I received was a marketing management diploma.
So
yeah. So yeah, so where I am now in terms of like a formal diploma training, this is where like the informal ones, I have many certs, right? Okay, the one that I had this year during the pandemic was this certifications of Ho'oponopono practitioner and intellectual property. It's like a certification of attending kind of thing. So in terms of like to sort of upgrade myself, and I used to do intellectual property stuff in Singapore for a while. So a lot, yeah.
So how did
maybe I should just go to my shelf and show you the
exactly check them off. So how did you launched? You said you launched your points of view coaching thing on International Day. What did you say? What did you launch on International Day? On
National Day, our Singapore birthday. That was back in 2015.
Okay.
Yeah. So the book that you were sharing just now, right? I mean, the new cover, the whole new identity of a butterfly. So butterflies. It is. It's one of the. My identity right now in terms of branding. In terms of like, I believe in. Once you have clarity. Once you have clarity, right? You will not naturally you naturally will have abundance in your life. And abundance in the root words, right? It means overflowing richness. Yeah, and what's very interestingly, I picked up this card. In fact, I picked up 3 cards. Okay, but
these are the points of view cards that we keep talking about. Yes.
Yeah. So
forgiveness.
There was
what is that about?
Yeah. So I remember when I was starting to become a trainer. Right, I was in my early 20s. I was all about, you talk about certifications, you talk about, like different kind of courses that I attend and stuff like that, right? There was this particular training that I went, and then the trainer was asking me this question. She says, if you can give up your life to save 1 million people, what would it be? And then I remember with no hesitations, I responded something like that along the line of forgiveness. It's like, I would want to educate people to be able to forgive themselves so that they can experience life fully. And that was back like 10 years, maybe like almost 10 years, right? And then
So what was your answer? What was your answer? 1 million people or your own life?
If I were to sacrifice my life for 1 million people, what would it be, right? What would the cost be, right?
Oh, what would the cost be? Got you. Okay.
Yeah. So the cost will be, that 1 million people will forgive themselves so that they can live their true potential and their true self and their true life. Yeah, this card showed up quite a few days ago also. Yeah, so there was and this season of pandemic when you are stuck at home, where you're generally always constantly almost for me, I will speak for myself in this reflective mode, right? And then I just realized that a lot of things that I'm doing now, I'm going back to where I started.
Oh, I like that. Wow.
Yeah. And I think the last interview I had with you, I was crying, I was in my emotions, I'm not afraid to share it with the audience because this is a very real thing, especially emotions. Because emotions tells us, because I'm trained in ontological coaching, and we emphasize a lot on our body and our emotions and the language that we use with our clients and with ourselves, right? And emotions it's like a hint. It's like a hint to you on what's going on in your life.
Yes.
And if you are always in confusion, like me, right? Like me. Okay, I admit. Okay, I had a period of my life where I was wondering about who am I? These very big questions, and what am I here for? And this kind of big question. And it was really the time where you are willing to check in with yourself and say, where did these questions come from, and what am I feeling about these emotions that slowly and surely somehow you need to trust the process.
Definitely. So how did you make that transition? Because at the time when we were interviewing, it was like you said, I'm so tired of, I feel like I'm always searching for something and I never really find the answer. Now it looks like, which is crazy because you have so many certificates and that's so fantastic. How did you make the transition to where you are now?
I feel is I like what I always say to my clients, right? It's like a choice. It's like choice is just like that. It's like, can you hear it? Like it's this moment, it's just this moment, it's this moment. It's this constantly choosing, to come out of that negativity, if there is such. I mean technically we don't judge our emotions when in our states, but just there's no good and bad, technically. But it's also for me I always so in terms of Ho'oponopono, we talk about this being 100% responsible for everything that happens, and for me it's hard. I mean, I have to admit that sometimes it's really hard to be 100% responsible for everything that happens.
It is so exhausting to be 100% responsible for everything. Even though we know we are, it's just nice to blame it on somebody else every now and then. It's like, I need a break. I'm going to make it your fault. Yeah.
It's easy to point the finger at, it's your fault, like what you say, right? So when shit hits the fans, or when things don't work out, when there's a fight in the house, like I mentioned, I just got married, when there's disagreement with whatever that is happening, I just if I'm responsible for this, if I'm 100% responsible for this, what do I want to do about it? It's just and also because in my book, I started the context of my book with this context. What if today is your last day?
Yeah.
And I wanted to, like, you know, a NLP trainer, our neuro linguistic program. There's another certificate that I just got recently also. You know, and this trainer, a friend of mine, you know, he was saying that, don't you feel that this statement is quite negative? You know, it's so sad. Like, you keep thinking that today is your last day and stuff like that. But I responded very candidly. I think based on the last interview, I said this, just like a metaphor of a samurai. A samurai lives their day as if every day is their last day, and they practice mastery to the best that they know how, and they prepare for themselves to go into a better or anything in their life as if it's their last day. So when I put on that context, the big context in my book, what is today is your last day. It's not to say that you should prepare for your death, today kind of thing. Like, it's just more on, like, you want to make sure that you wake up every day of your life being productive, being meaningful, being happy, and you know that you can go back to bed and say that, you know what, I have lived.
I think that's what that's a gift of the pandemic. If we can think of the pandemic as having any gifts, and it was just letting us know that nothing is guaranteed. To worry about the future, even to worry about what's going to happen next week. I don't know quite how it is where you are, but everything changes every day here. And you think you know what's going on, and then there's another something on this side that comes in, or something on this side comes in. And it's just like, live in the moment as much as you can, because that's really all you can count on. And so to worry about the future and to live like this is your last day, because now we all see that it very well could be through no fault of our own. So I think that's one of the gifts of the pandemic. It's like, okay, stop wasting time. It's there's people out there that need love, that you want to be loved by. There's things you want to get done. You got the love card, of course. That was one you chose too. Perfect. And I think that's the gift for us. So I think you had that knowledge all along in your book. That's kind of what you said. But the rest of us are catching up to you now with hopefully learning. That's one thing we're learning through all this.
I think also in a sense whereby in this pandemic especially, you sort of also, like I mentioned, like you are constantly in this reflective mode, right? About, what really matters to you and what is important to you. Would you agree? Did I have that?
Oh, what happened?
I don't know. I'm just asking. I'm saying I'm network problem. It's okay. I'm just saying that it's also in this reflective mode and this pandemic time where you sort of find out like what matters to you as well and what's important to you.
Yes.
Like sort of a lot of non-essential stuff sort of like just fade away and stuff like that.
Yeah, that would that's exactly what's happening in my life. I'm realizing that there's a lot of things I can do without, that I said, oh my God, I have to have. I mean, but I think another gift is like we're learning how to connect in other ways. Like, I can see you're worrying about your internet, but you're coming through fine, so don't worry about it. And I can hear you perfectly. And so I think we're learning that you and I are getting together. I've interviewed with you for your podcast, and now you're interviewing for me with my show. And it's like, okay, we have to go around. We have to become innovative and creative. And I think that's what's happening. And I think that's why your book is so important, because it just says in great big letters, it says, go for it, just go for it. If you're wrong, so what? Just go ahead and get it done. So I thank you for that book. How can people get your book? How can they find your book?
You can go to the website, www.thydreams, matters.com to purchase it. It's free shipping all over the world. And the reason why it's called Thy Dreams Matters, it actually means your dreams matter. And like what Laurie says, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So that is thydreamsmatter.com, and they can get this. It's a 37-day journal. And why did you choose 37?
Because it's my birthday, March 7th.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like I've mentioned, right, the book has gone through a lot of revisions and stuff like that. It was initially a 100 days journal.
Oh my goodness.
Because it was that thick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason it became 37 was due to a decision that I made, and I say like, okay, you know what, I got to decide. I shall do it 37 then. Easier.
Fantastic. Well, if you're doing numerology, it becomes a number 10, and that's the beginning of everything. So I think it fits.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's fantastic. We've got like a minute and a half. What do you want to let people know? I mean, you've got so much going for you. You got the book, you got the points of view. What is it? If you could give us some advice, what would that be?
Thinking mode.
Thinking what?
Thinking mode. I think the advice to give you is a reminder to you that your dreams matters, no matter how big, how small it is, and just go for it.
Okay. And to reinforce that, you've got the book. You've got the book, and I will tell you one thing that I adored about this book, and I don't know, it's so simple, but Jennifer she has exercises in it, and she has fantastic quotes from herself and other people, but she makes you draw your dreams. And whenever I'm wondering, where am I going? I go back to those drawings that I did in the first exercise, and it's like, okay, it's just such a visual thing. And I think we could talk about this forever, but I think that's the beauty of the points of view cards too. They're visual, and you can see it, and it reminds you, and it's just a great memory or memory jogger, so you can ring, oh yeah, that was what I said I wanted to do. This is so good. So I would highly recommend this book. I think it's one of my favorite. Jennifer Lim, we have like 8 seconds left. I'm going to thank you so much for getting up so early to be on this show. I love having you as a guest. Thank you.